Not long ago when he unretired from the NFL. Brady is back for his 23rd season, and the 44-year-old will be rejoining the Tampa Bay Bucks to go after his 8th Super Bowl ring and his 2nd with the Bucks franchise. But his former coach, Bruce Arians, believes that offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich deserves more praise for their success.
I get credit, and Brady gets way too much credit for what Byron does with our offense. And one of the reasons I hope he gets all the credit he deserves this year to get a head coaching gig. You know, he had about 4 or 5 teams real interested last year. And I would anticipate him to be a head coach real fast.
So for more, we've got Rob Minkovich here with us. So Rob, I'm going to start with you. With all of this on the table, what do you make of Arians saying Brady gets too much credit for his team's success?
Well, I think you'd like to see Leftwich be a head coach, and he will be. Yeah. He'll be a head coach. Maybe next year he'll have that opportunity to be a head coach. But look, we live in a world where NFL quarterbacks get all the credit. I mean, you think about, go down the list. Peyton Manning, did he get a lot of credit for all the success that he had with the teams that he played for? Yeah. Did Aaron Rodgers, does Aaron Rodgers get a lot of credit for all the success that they have in Green Bay? Of course. So Tom Brady being the guy on the field throwing the passes, of course, he's going to get a lot of the credit. You can draw up a play. You could draw up a perfect play. But if you don't have the guy that can throw the ball accurately and make the right decisions, we've seen that with Tampa in the past. They went out and they got Tom Brady because they needed that guy. They needed somebody that can make the right decision. So Tom gets the credit because he's the quarterback. Just like Patrick Mahomes, just like Aaron Rodgers, just like Josh Allen, they all get a lot of credit. They all get all the accolades, and they all get all the money. And that's because they're the most important position on the field.
Yeah, there could be a few things that are true here. One, he's supporting Byron Leftwich and wants Byron Leftwich to get a head coaching job, which is awesome. Yeah. And I feel like we've seen Bruce Arians a lot of times root for, quote unquote, the underdog. And I love that about Bruce Arians. Also can be true what Minko just said. Yes, you live and die by your quarterback. When they're good, we praise them. When they're terrible, we blame them for every single problem on the team. But the third thing that can be true is that Bruce Arians gets on Tom Brady way too often. Way too often. And I have seen it from middle of the season, beginning of the season, now off season. He's constantly kind of throwing a little bit of shade at Tom Brady. And I'm not here for it. Because if Bruce Arians wants, now I know he's no longer the head coach there in Tampa Bay, he should have started Blaine Gabbert if he's got all these issues with Tom Brady. And so I just don't like the constant shade for TB12.
I didn't see any shade, to be honest. I think everybody's being a little bit dramatic on this one because what I heard Coach Arians say, I and Tom Brady get too much credit. I think he just delivered the words in a way that made it sound like he was saying, I get some credit and Tom gets entirely too much. I thought this was a guy saying, I'm the head coach that won a Super Bowl. Tom Brady's a quarterback that won a Super Bowl. And nobody's talking about Byron Leftwich, and they need to be. This is a guy that's getting up there campaigning for a guy who is not getting any opportunities in a league we know is known for not giving black faces the opportunity to go out there, interview, and ultimately get jobs they're clearly deserving of. So for me, I see nothing here to hate on Bruce Arians with, only celebrate. Nick makes a great point here. Even if there was shade being thrown, which I didn't see any of it, it's a quarterback-driven league, and that's how we're always going to assess success. It is, what the quarterback? Who's that quarterback? Oh, yeah, that's why they won. They got Tom Brady. They got Peyton Manning. They got Drew Brees. And when they lose, they've got Blaine Gabbert when he was starting before he was in Tampa Bay. That's how the conversations go. But to me, I saw no issue with this. I think this is Bruce Arians being the guy on his way out that he was on his way in, and I love it.
Yeah, again, multiple things can be true here, but we do know that Bruce Arians has thrown some shade at Tom Brady.
This wasn't one of those
Maybe not. Maybe
to
not.
me.
Maybe I'm sensitive to it, and that wasn't my doing. Just saying.
What time is it? She's acknowledged she's sensitive at 10:42. Thank you. That's a big part of this here.
It's true.
Nick, what do you think?
I think Leftwich and Tom definitely have had a huge impact on that offense. But, you know, also the player selection that they've made and bringing in and building a roster, that's really made a difference and set them apart from where they were in years past. You know, they bring in a lot of key pieces. They built that roster out to be one piece away. So, you know, credit goes to the, you know, the scouts and everyone making all the decisions on who they're signing and who they're keeping. So Byron Leftwich will be a head coach. Mark my words. He's going to be a head coach, and he's benefited from having Tom Brady as the quarterback come in. If Byron Leftwich was trying to put in this game plan with a Bortles or somebody else or a rookie, you know, I think it would have been a lot harder for him. I mean, look, we saw him with Jameis when he had 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. So, you know, having Tom Brady has definitely helped Byron probably in his career, get a head coaching job. So I think that next year we will see Byron Leftwich be a head coach of a football team.
Well, and Rob, you played with Brady. Do you think he really pays attention to these types of comments?
No, I mean, I think Tom probably agrees. Like, yeah, I get a lot of the credit here, and Leftwich has been a huge part of the success that I had transitioning from New England, coming here. And look, their team now and their coaching staff is really built by a lot of ex-players. So, you know, I could say as a player myself, when I would have a coach who had some experience in the NFL, it was a little bit different coming from somebody like, hey, I remember, I know cover 2, I know cover 3, I've seen it with my own eyes. I know this play does not work. Well, Tom, what play works? I understand that. So having a coach that played, I think, is a little bit more powerful. And, you know, there's great coaches that have never played a down of football and never made a tackle. But, you know, coming from a guy that's been there, done that, I think that those two and the combination of that relationship with Tom and Leftwich, I think that was a great thing for success. And look, they won a Super Bowl because of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Bruce Arians is trying to give love to Byron Leftwich. We just dissect every single thing that happens in regards to Tom Brady, in regards to this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. And, of course, Bruce Arians, because he's part of the mix. But I will say this, Nink, just to your point, in terms of how much credit Tom Brady deserves there with the Buccaneers, over 75% of their offensive plays are through the air. Yes, he deserves some of the credit. He's the one throwing the ball. And so I know Bruce Arians, again, is just trying to lift up Byron Leftwich, but there are elements to this.
And even if there was an element of jealousy here and Bruce Arians was throwing some shade, which I don't believe to be the case here, I think that kind of comes with the territory when you're surrounded by legendary greatness.
Of course.
Look no further than your hometown of Chicago. Scottie Pippen is making himself look awful in how he's trying to defend what his career meant, because it's always attached to Michael Jordan, and he feels like he's been defamed of what he really achieved. I think sometimes when you're attached to that level of greatness, it's easy to get lost in the sauce, which you're truly capable of doing. And sometimes there needs to be a reminder. So maybe, just maybe, Coach Arians was trying to say, hey, this isn't all Tom, you know. I'm a pretty good coach. And Byron Leftwich does a heck of a job calling plays, too. There could be a small element of that. I wouldn't be mad at it.
And see, so we've all come full circle here. There was a little bit of shade.
Thank you.
Maybe a little right there. We're going to leave it. We're going to leave it right there. Rob, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
LeBron and the Lakers will be watching the NBA playoffs with the rest of us. Has the King gotten more out of LA than LA has gotten out of him? Plus, the Heat quietly locked up the top seed in the East last night. And are we sleeping on them goons from Dade County? You know, Perk has something to say about that.